Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce.
What I've learned is that there are relationships, and this is why I wrote the book, because there are people I know who they can have a collaborative divorce. They can have a divorce in which everybody has some dignity and they can resolve these issues without lawyers and judges and court-ordered therapists and everything intruding in their lives. We're going to talk about that. Let's put it this way. So much of what I went through the last 8 years, it was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. And it costs a fortune. And more of the psychic toll. I mean, I aged like 20 years in the last 8 years. Really, it killed me.
It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life. What I consider to be my deepest personal failure.
I believe that 50-50 custody should be the default position for men who want and earn 50-50 custody.
And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted.
Like in West Virginia has a very important law right now where custody is allocated after an analysis is done of what the parenting, of how the parenting duties were divided during the marriage. So for example, if you and I are married and we have a kid and you go off to work every day and I come and we get divorced and I say, I would like to have 50-50 custody, and you say, no, you worked all the time, I can go to court in West Virginia and say, well, you worked all the time too. Mm-hmm. And we both had careers that took us away from the child, so it wasn't like you parented more than I did. But understand also that no one who I work with or no one who I'm in touch with in terms of this issue, like McCormick and people like that, men who abuse their wives, men who abuse their children, men who neglect their children and don't pay their custody and so forth, those people are the enemies of the shared parenting movement.
Of course.
I don't want just anybody to automatically get custody. I want qualified men who want it.
Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side.
I feel like I met someone and they were someone who was an incredibly alluring person, and I was new in my business, and I met someone who was very interesting, and I was at an age.
It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out.
Well, I think with respect to that book, Alec has articulated something that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this country have experienced, and that's the pain of separation from their child. That's the inability to parent the way they want to parent. In an extreme form, it's parental alienation. But certainly parental alienation exists, and anybody who works in this area and parents all around the country have actually experienced that. You know, there's some estimates that say that in up to 80% of the cases, there's some level of alienation. But what we see is that there's a wide range. So it can be from very mild to very, very severe.
And the law says that that's how it works.
Well, I think there's a combination of factors there. I think that the court system today enables a parent who's inclined to be an alienator. The court will allow that to happen. I think that's unfortunate. All the vehicles to fight are already built into the system if there's a predisposition to that. So I think there's...
That's an important distinction, and that is, forget about the litigants, because which is hard to do, but just for the purposes of this discussion, you know, litigants come and people come to the dissolution of a marriage with a lot of bitter feelings. Marriage is still a very important commitment to people. They have a lot of hope.
And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed. I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
They certainly didn't plan on things going that way.
And no, this was not my choice.
There's a lot of blame.
One thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong.
And acrimony. These are two people that should not be principal witnesses against each other in a trial. They are biased, prejudiced people, and the courts know that, and the courts treat in family law and in divorce custody law, this is a civil proceeding that metes out criminal punishment. You were denied your rights as a parent based on the testimony of very, very biased people, not just the other, your ex-spouse, but some of her collateral witnesses as well. Custody evaluations are very, very biased. But the thing is, the courts know this.
Yeah.
The courts, and they do nothing to stop it because it's a racket whereby people are lining their pockets with a lot of money.
I'm the hand of Mona Lisa's skirt. I'm a surprise. They don't see me coming. That's what you're missing.